And the door slides open once again on another WGNR painting stream. Hello and welcome to everyone in the chat here today. Welcome back. My name's Ryan. This is War Games News Radio, and we are painting Swan, the big boy behemoth himself from Fallout 4. This has been our project over the last 3-4 streams. I think this is number 4, if memory serves, and we are getting things rolling. We've got his skin pretty much done now at this stage of the game, which has been a ton of fun. Doing lots of blending on that to get it going. And now, next up, we are going to be doing the boat. That's the plan for today, I think, is to tackle the boat. So we're going to get painting on this guy in just a minute here. Who we got in the chat today? We got, eScorpy. Hello, good to see you. Leon Jones, good to see you here as well, hanging out. Very excited to get some painting on the go. Let me know in the chat what you all are painting up there today, because I always like to talk about what you guys are working on, playing on. Doesn't have to be Fallout stuff. This is a Fallout painting stream, but we can talk minis, we can talk pop culture, we can talk whatever comes to mind. So let me know in the chats how you're doing today and what you're working on, if you're working on anything. We'll talk about a couple things today as we go. Obviously the painting as we go, but we'll get chatting on some different techniques here. Nothing too fancy. I think today we're going to play around with some contrast paints. Old-fashioned acrylics is what we used for all of the skin, but I think on the boat I want to make it look a little bit more vibrant, maybe. We've got this underbrush paint job already good to go, so I think I'm going to take advantage of that. Use the natural highlights and shadows we built up there with some contrasts to, first of all, move this project along, because I don't want to be painting it for 16,000 streams, and also just to play around with some different stuff and move it along. Oh, Sarch Benavtut, if I'm saying that correctly. Yo, hello. Cleaning up some freshly painted Red Rocket Station pieces. Oh, and then work on some Brahmin. Nice. So that's the 3D printed Red Rocket. Then I've got a bunch of pieces of that too. That from a failed print that Raj, one of the other guys here at the channel, made up, and it's been a fun thing to use as different sort of scatter pieces. But sadly, the whole building didn't come together, so looking forward to seeing how that turns out, because yeah, those are that's a really great kit. One of the reasons I need a 3D printer is exactly that kit. But yeah, they're not slowing down with the 3D printing stuff from Modifius these days either. But let's get things rolling. I think we're gonna go for the boat to start here. Oh, I gotta bring got a little Swan reference photo up there in the chat there. You can take a look. So gonna go, how he looks in the game. That green for the base of the boat, and then sort of the trim in the top here will be a brighter red. And then in the video game himself, he doesn't have all these little bits and bobs here, but the concept art, which is what the model's based off of, does. So we'll just throw some metallics on there. I've got a brown sort of contrast maybe we'll use for some of these bits here. Yeah, just to break it up a little bit. But yeah, we're going to get rolling first with the green, using some Dark Angels green contrast paint. I'm going to mix it up a little bit with some of the contrast medium, just to help it flow a little bit better. And it's like a crazy heat wave in Toronto right now. So paint has been like, it acts so weird when it's hot and humid, and like I've got a bunch of fans going to keep myself alive, so the paint's drying weird, and yeah, it's a whole thing. So short story long, the contrast medium here will hopefully settle things down a bit. So just got a little cup, a couple drops of our contrast. I'm just gonna go just a drop here. of the medium. Come on. It'll come off my brush. Ooh. And I poured way too much in. Haha. That's okay. We'll just mix in a little bit more. So if you don't know this stuff, it's basically a gel-based medium. This stuff can act, contrast paints and gel paints can act a little weird with water. So a little bit of contrast medium. You can give it a bit more flow and float. It also lightens it up just a little bit. And Dark Angel's green's pretty dark, so. Also increases the drying time a little bit, so you have a little bit more room to play with before the contrast really sets. So we're gonna get this going on a big old brush, slap it on and see what happens. Leon Jones, looking to add to the Caesar's Legion core box in the near future. Got to give NCR some enemies. Yeah, the I believe it's the Veterans box is one of my favorites. Love the models, and the units play really well. But let's just get going here on the boat. Try to avoid, obviously, all the detaily little bits, but we'll just see what happens. Oh, Sarch Benefoot says, I know you don't know me super well, but we're actually friends on Facebook. Cole! Oh, well, there you go. It's so, everyone's got 16 different names these days, right? With between Discord and Facebook and all those things. Well, Cole, good to see ya. Good to meet you in person. Digital friends. Which is something we've made lots of here since starting the channel, which is nice. See, nothing too fancy going on here, gang. We're just gonna get some base layers done. I gotta say, thanks for everyone for tuning in today. I gotta say, there was a chance that this stream wasn't going to happen. I've been a little under the weather today. In fact, up until about an hour ago, I was comatose in bed, knocked myself out with I think it's this heat wave, honestly, but got a wicked old migraine today while I was at work and had to take the rest of the day off, but knocked myself out, and here we are. So short story long, the show must go on. So thank you all for tuning in. Ah, the magic of contrast paints. Look how quickly we're making progress here. But yeah, the Caesar's Legion units. I was actually taking a look through some old, well, working on a new old battle report. NCR and Legion for the upcoming Return to New Vegas campaign. And yeah, the Legion Vets box. It's got some good stuff. The Vexillarius, I believe, is in there. Some Praetorians, if I'm thinking of the right box. Love the Praetorians. Probably my favorite Legion unit. Try not to go too thick anywhere here. Anywhere where it is pooling, just kind of pull it away before it dries too much. But we're going to gunk this thing up real nice and build some texture to it as well. So it's all right if a little bit of that comes through. You can see right there we got a little bit of splotching there. See if we can just smooth that out just a bit. Yeah, got a little spot. That's okay. We'll weather that to look a little more natural. Alrighty there, we're in pretty good shape with that green. You can see there the underpainting really giving us a hand with the highlights. Try to soak up some of this. Pooling areas. Not bad. Not bad there. Give that just a quick minute to dry. And then go through with a lighter contrast green. Just gotta build a bit of a gradient. I think that'll do pretty nicely. We're gonna speed through this boat, I feel like. At least the base layers give us some time to do some details on the ropes and the chains. eScore P also painted some bottle caps and glued the Nuka-Cola stickers. Oh, yeah. Those are cool. Sash Baronfoot, maybe one day I'm building a custom table. Oh, there you go. Oh, in Indianapolis for Gen Con. Yes, absolutely. Which 2 years running now we've had collapses in our Gen Con plans. But such is life, unfortunately. And being in the Great White North makes sometimes travel all the way down to the States a little difficult. But such it is. Such it is. I'm going to mix it up a little bit here. I'm going to go to this sort of wood, metally, spiky detail here on the front. There's like a couple pieces of rebar underneath it there, and then the wooden bits. So I'm just going to tackle that right quick with a bit of rough iron, a metallic here, for that rebar. And then throw this hardened leather, which I actually really like for like a distressed wood. Speed paint. We'll play with that here in a minute, but we'll slap through some of these details quick. Little rough iron, not to be confused with big iron of New Vegas fame. Well, yeah, speaking of things video games, has anyone tried Starfield yet? I have not, and I've heard mixed reviews. I'm curious to see if anyone's given this a go. There we go. I think we'll go with a darker metallic, like this iron here, for the rebar, and then maybe even gold or bronze for the hook. I think that could be kind of cool, rather than just silver. But we'll see what we get when we get there. Not going too... I mean, these paints are pretty non-opaque to begin with, metallic. Oh, sorry, they're fairly opaque to begin with. But trying to just sort of kiss the edges of this with almost like an edge highlight, where we've already got our highlights painted in, or dry brushed in. Leaving a bit of that shadow in there already. Using as little paint as possible to tell the story of this boat, to not detract from any of the bigger parts. Corwin's Tabletop, good to see you. How you doing? If you wanted Fallout 4 gunplay and base building stuff in space, Starfield is great. I like both of those things. If you wanted Star Citizen or No Man's Sky Flight, it's not. Oh, okay. That's about the review that I've heard. That makes sense. That's put more plainly than I've read it. So I appreciate that breakdown, actually. Thank you, Corwin's Tabletop. But I feel like it was to be expected, and some people just had unrealistic expectations. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Bethesda did a good job of hyping up their own, train, right? We've been building this for 20 years. Yeah. But, yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up with that. I mean, they always kind of do that, though, so it's to be expected. But interesting. I will give it a go. I will pick it up and play it. I've just not had the time yet, but it will come. Heath, you have Starfield. It's good this far. Still learning all the game systems. Yeah, I hear it's kind of a slow burn. As far as kind of the mechanics rolling out, like it takes a little while to go through sort of a lot of the prerequisite mission and story stuff, which I think is fine in some regards. Yeah, I will be giving it a go. When is this the question? I gotta say, been on that Baldur's Gate train pretty hard in my free time. It's just so good. If any of y'all play D&D, it's a good time. So here we've got that hardened leather. Just gonna throw this on to where we've got the wooden bits here. It looks a lot darker than it dries. It's actually fairly light when it goes on, but we'll see how this plays here. JRE7632, good to see you. Hi man, Swan's coming on. Great. What's your thoughts on the Giant for Call to Arms? Oh yes, I am very, very excited for that. I think it's supposed to be. I tried to get some answers on this, not too unrecently, as to when the Giant and the Dragon should be popping up. It sounds like there's going to be changes to some of the, like they're going to be rolling out a new sort of rule pack or like a new rule system involving giant creatures like dragons, giants, all that kinds of stuff. So I think it's supposed to be coming out with this next card pack, with the mage stuff, but it was a kind of a wishy-washy answer during one of the streams. So I don't know for sure when we're going to be seeing it, but I think the model looks unreal. That's going to be a really cool thing to see, because I believe size-wise, it's going to be even bigger than this big boy by a decent clip. So, yeah, pretty stoked to see how that's going to turn out. Had my expectations in check. However, I will say it does look like a good job of pulling attention in 1,000 ways. Yeah, that's probably. I mean, if there's a criticism, I don't know that it's a criticism as such, but one thing that I will say is that it does look like a very busy model. There's a lot going on, but it doesn't. I don't think it feels clustered. It's been cluttered, I should say. It's been a while since I've looked at it. I should take another look. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what they're kind of doing. Like I said, with this sort of. The way they explained it was more of like a kind of like a build it yourself monster sort of expansion. Maybe that's just the way I read into it, because it was kind of a weird answer. And this was during the last reveal stream, not the one where they showed the giant. That was several releases ago, I believe. That was like back in the vampire stuff. But, yeah, I'm curious to see. Yeah, this was during the Winter Hold, the college reveal stream. So, curious to see what all they do with that. Oh, camera's not focusing. Hold on here, gang. Oh my god, look what I've done to my hand. There we go. It's being weird focusing, or not focusing, on the bottom of the boat here with so many other details to... But yes, curious to see what this entails. Maybe I've read into it wrong and it's not as cool as it sounds, but it sounds pretty cool. Like if you're able to build a frost dragon, okay, it's got this attack, you know, this many HP, like that sort of thing, like similar to how you build your characters. So that could be cool. But also just, you know, it's time for the dragon rules already. It's hit a Liberty Prime level of ridiculousness with a model that's been out for years and no way to play it. I mean, technically, you could use the unit cards from the Skyrim board game that have the Dragonling and Dragonling Matriarch. You could do that, and that would be cool. But it's not, it's not a huge giant dragon level enemy. It's tough, don't get me wrong. But so it would be cool to see that come through sooner than later, in my humble opinion. Lucas Maloko, if I'm saying that correctly, hello, welcome. Thank you for tuning in today. We're painting Swan. Oh, I see. I misread that comment, Heath. I thought that, Heath, your comment about having expectations in check was about the model, about the giant, but it was about Starfield. But the same still applies. Expectations in check is usually a good thing in general, I've discovered. JRE, do you know when the next Fallout reveal stream will be for Nuka World? I thought they would have done it by now, considering a lot has been revealed on a lot of different stores. Yes, for pre-orders. It's a great question. I actually have no idea, which is interesting. I don't know that they're going to do another big reveal stream like they've done in the previous waves, just because I feel like we would have probably already heard about it by now. That isn't to say that it's not going to happen, but I think if all of the ducks are in a row, this coming Friday, so 2 days from now, will be the release of the rules, at least for pre-order, and maybe a couple model kits as well. Likely, I think Mason, like we've already seen that get released. So it could be some other pack ones as well. I honestly do not know if they're going to do one gang a month, or if they're going to do one box from each, one box from each, one box from each. I am shockingly out of the loop on this wave. But only because, well, I don't know entirely why, but mostly because I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes as far as getting this one ready to go. It's tied to this Fallout Factions sort of side game, so I know that there's some preparations being done for that. So yeah, it's just an interesting time. My direct pipeline to Modiphius has not dried up, but they've been a little quieter these days as to let me know exactly what's coming down the way. But there are going to be some interesting things in this expansion as far as changes to the rules, some pretty fundamental stuff. To how the game is actually played. I can't say exactly what they are yet because of NDAs and playtesting and things, but there's a couple cool changes coming. I don't know everything that's coming, but there is going to be a couple rejigs to a couple different rules in the game that come with this expansion. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if it's going to be, some of them may be optional, some of them won't. So it's not like a full-on second edition, but there will be some changes. So there you go. Yeah, the production pipeline is weirdly out of sync, lingering pandemic damage mostly, I think, Corwin Tabletop. Yeah, that's pretty fair. I think there's been a weird sort of lag, and at least the sort of promotions of the marketing of what's coming up down the line has at least that's fallen by the wayside for sure, because there hasn't really been any hype at all for this wave. But again, I had originally heard this was going to be more October, so maybe we're still maybe we still have some time, and it's just the pre-orders that are opening on Friday. I don't know. We will find out though, because it should be another. It should be a Fallout Friday blog from Modiphius coming out on the 8th. So I think from what I've seen, pre-orders, the blog coming out, it's the second Friday of the month. It all lines up that we're gonna get some big something this Friday, at least some news, if not some pre-orders. So maybe we'll find out more about these rule changes. I don't know, but there's some tricky things going on. Hope Lucas, you say hope one day we get more Children of Adam after Nuka World. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd like to see some of the like the units from Far Harbor. There it is. Like the Zealots, are like the Marine armor. That would be a really cool looking model. Yeah, just a little bit different flavor. I think would be cool to see in the line. Yeah, there's a lot to do with that faction, and they're fun to play. And actually, I have a battle report I need to film to kind of show off some of their abilities. But yeah, there's a lot that could be done with them, and there's no one way to play them. There's a couple different ways that I think are interesting. So yeah, it would be cool to see more of that. Okay, so now I got some more. Now we get some red, speeding through the details here. Hoping to have this boat done within the hour. That's the plan. I think we can nail it. One stream, one boat, done and done. Flesh Terror's red, coming through. Yeah, but I am excited for what we're going to see in Nuka World. I think the models are going to look really cool from what I have seen. The Mason pose is interesting. I've seen some different takes on or reviews on how that looks. But use a bigger brush here. The dogs in that pack, I think, are honestly the standout. I see those being a very popular kit just for the dogs, and I see a lot of alternate dog meats running around in the near future, because yeah, they look really cool. I'm really excited to see what else from the pack we get, because all the crazy helmets that they wear, absolutely love it. There we go. How are we looking here? Now, this is where we gotta be careful. Try not to touch the skin. I guess if some red gets on him, maybe it's blood from his latest victim, but I think we can avoid any of that. Yes, very excited for some Nuka World news. And then, hopefully, a view of things to come. So I know that John, and half jokingly, John from Modiphius mentioned that they have already got, because this is going to be Wave 9, and saw a post that he was talking about that they're already in the works or planning of Wave 12. So that's good news that, you know, stuff's still coming. Exactly what it is, I know a little bit. I think we all kind of see the writing on the wall that Fallout 76 is going to happen sooner than later. At least some content from it, maybe not a full wave. But it is coming. West Virginia, take me home. At least I think it's coming. All the evidence points that way. In fact, if you haven't seen the video that I did predicting that several months ago, take a look. It's on there. It's on here. It's on the tubes, baby. But after that, whew, who knows? And again, I don't know if that's going to be preview wave, kind of like what we got with the Children of Adam. But I think what would be really cool to see would be if Modiphius made some Children of Adam models based on the Children of Adam quest book for 2D20. Last Son of Adam, that'd be cool. A Gigapede, that would be cool. Now I don't know if Bethesda would greenlight making models from something that's not in an actual video game, but I would love to see something where the models, you know, similar to how you've got a D&D campaign, right? You go and you buy a monster of a beholder, you put a beholder in your game. That would be cool. But I think that may be a bit of a pipe dream on my end. Sarge Banatoot says, if I can just get two, one off of the Scorched and a Mothman Cultist, I would be happy. That would be great. Cultists would be awesome. Scorched Beast. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be a really fun epic battle to play against a Scorched Beast. Even stats for a Scorched Beast Queen, even. That would be cool. Yeah, Cultists. I mean, and if you're going to do like a promo mini for that wave, it's got to be the Mothman, right? How great would that be? You got so many different cryptids in that game. You could go a couple different ways with the promo mini, but I feel like the Mothman's that's the obvious one, right? But then again, Modiphius don't always go for the obvious choice when it comes to the promo minis, which I can also appreciate. But there's some nice cryptids in there. Yep, the Grafton Monster, that'd be cool. Or the Flatwoods Monster, that's a good one too. Lots of monsters. Sheep Squatch. Yeah, that game does have some good enemies, I gotta say. The freaking massive ghoul behemoth thing, which I've actually never encountered. I've never played through that quest line enough in 76. Ghoul Colossus or whatever it is. There we go. Looking in pretty darn good shape here. Oh, we've reached the stage of the stream where I have to swap my hat around. Inevitably, so I don't smash the camera with the brim of my hat. But yeah, the Fallout 76 stuff could be cool. Could be pretty cool to see. Scorch would be a fun faction. Responders. There's some different things you could do. New Brotherhood of Steel models, obviously. New Enclave models, which, I mean, they've already sort of drawn a lot of inspiration from that game for the recent Capital Wave for the Brotherhood and Enclave forces, so I see a lot more of that coming down the way too. Drawing inspiration from. Kind of cool to see some, well, obviously some of the more isometric games get their day in the sun, but we'll be waiting a while for that. Well, we're already looking not too shabby here with this boat. Let's zoom out a little bit here. There we go. Already got a bit of, he's starting to look a little bit more like a thing now, hey? Not too shabby. I'm gonna finish off quick and get that hook painted. I think we'll use this bronze. Mix it in with a little bit of brown. Ooh, let's go with... No, that's too light. Go with this guy here, Gorthor Brown. Citadel and their freaking paint names. Gorthor Brown. BOS are the Space Marines of Fallout. Yes, they are. They are exactly that. They're always around. Always around doing something. Well, that brown's not brown enough. We need a browner brown. There we go. British uniform brown. That's a brown. There. There we go. Mix those two up to a fine consistency here. Still has a metallic sheen. Take a little bit of the edge off. Wouldn't be super shiny and bright. After 200 years of slaying humies. And of course we're going to gunk this thing up pretty good too. Let's see there, yeah. It's a weird angle. A lot of interesting spots to try to get on this big boy. She's coming together though. Even just these few details on the boat here is already making this thing look a lot more like a thing. Go. Which size battle do you think is best? Asks Leon Jones. 500, 750, or 1,000? That's a good question. I find for me, if I'm playing like either competitively or against another person, I find 750 or even 700 to tweak things just a little bit. Can be fun, gives you some options, on what to play with. You're not super constricted. You can take some of the fancier things in your faction at 750. Depending on the faction, 500 I do think is kind of the sweet spot, or maybe the most. I hesitate to say balanced, but I think it gives you the most maybe authentic experience of the game. Because you've got options on what you can take. You've got room, but not that much room, so you have to be a little bit smart about your choices. Especially if you're playing something that's an expensive faction like Enclave, Brother to Steel, arguably the Gunners. Yeah, I think 500 again is kind of that sweet spot for battles and stuff on the channel. 500 is 450 to 500. Honestly, is kind of the most manageable, and I think that translates to playing a game with another person as well. 1,000 can get nutty depending on what faction. I mean, if you're playing Enclave, you could build 1,000 points really with probably like 3 or 4 models if you really wanted to go nuts. Including like Frank and stuff like that. So, yeah, it does kind of depend faction-wise, but 750, it's right down the middle, hard to go wrong. But, yeah, I think things, from a friendly standpoint, 500's kind of my favorite. Looking pretty darn good here, gang. Gonna go ahead with some more metallics, because apparently there's a lot of metallic on this boat. Some silvery bits here. Also gonna do some of the rivets on the wood into the boat. 1,500. Yeah, it's enough to take every season's Caesar's Legion model and upgrades. Yeah, that sounds about right. I've built a couple, just like, you know, well, let's see how fun, you know, we can make this look. Lists at like 2,000. Yeah, and it's pretty crazy fun lists when you get up that high. But yeah, you'd be playing that game for hours and hours and hours, which could be kind of cool. Yeah, like a massive, you know, Fallout 3 Liberty Prime style battle. That would be wild. Because I mean, Prime's 1,000 points all by himself. These little rivety dudes. Oh yeah, very delicate, very delicate. There we go. Oh, Swan. You're starting to look like a real grown-up super mutant. Despite having a diaper, you're looking like the real deal, buddy. Oh. Little slip up there, but we'll be able to patch that up. That'll buff out. That'll buff out in the wash. Yeah, biggest battle I've actually played was 1,000. That was the Caesar's Legion NCR big finale video. And that was wild to keep track of. It took me 2 days, honestly, to film. I had to take a couple different breaks because keeping it all straight in my head, because it was a solo game. It was a little much. Here we go. We are coming together. Coming it together just fine. I realize I missed a slight spot with the green. Right in between the metal here and the red parts, so I gotta go back in. But not too worried about getting the rope details here, because we're gonna paint those over anyway. There we go. Let that dry. We're in good shape. Not too shabby. Gonna move on next to chain. Get the chain done here, and then the ropes, at least the first layer on the ropes. I might save, no, we will tackle the ropes here today. So I'm going to do sort of 2 colors that I like to do on ropes. That British uniform brown, and to cover the whole rope, and then sort of highlight the knotted bits with hemp rope. Gives kind of a depth of field look to it that I really enjoy. So yeah, I think we'll be able to knock out those here today. At the very least, get the first layer down on the rope and the chains. We're gonna be in good shape. Hey, Chip Parker. Hey, how you doing? Good to see ya. Vaguely reminds you of Lobo's hook without the chain. Yeah, I can see that vibe. Thanks for tuning in, Chip. Always good to see ya. always good to see some friendly and familiar faces in the chat. Go. Yeah, the boat. I gotta say, I was hoping this would come together as quickly as it has. So far, so good. Yeah, because three sessions painting skin was. I mean, I'm glad we took the time because I think it paid off, and it's, you know, a pretty big detail on this big bad boy. But yeah, moving on to something a little different. It's always kind of nice stage of the project to hit, right? Go. Lovely. There we go. Get around this backside. Get around his backside. He's got a lot of junk in his trunk. There we go. Not too shabby at all. 1500 is easy enough to take every... Oh, we already read that one. LOL didn't last long. It was a 4-player free-for-all at 1500 each. Oh, wow. Enclave, Mirelurks, Legion, and a single Liberty Prime. I believe I saw posts of that. Looked like a wild game. Yeah, wait, 4-way fight at that level? Whoo, yeah. That's for serious. Get the oh, I was about to put the brown that I mixed with gold onto the ropes. That's not the right thing. That's not the right thing at all. Here we go. British uniform. Straight up, no mix. Straight up, no mixer. I think this will be our last step for the day. But gosh dang, am I getting pretty stoked with how we're going here. I think the next big detail will be the sort of the extremities, his lower half, his shin guards and his diaper, and then that big old I'm still calling it a hatchet. That's wrong. Anchor. There's the word. And the Swanny bits. So I think, yeah, we're gonna probably be looking another 3 or 4. If not more. That's okay, we're not in a rush. Anything worth doing. It's worth doing right. This is the nerve-wracking part, of course. But just sort of edge highlighting-ish. Heavy on the ish. Whew, some of these details are tiny. Teeny tiny ropes on a very big mutant. Whew. Yeah, that crisscross sort of lattice pattern. Let's not joke around. Kudos to whoever modeled this thing, because dang, those are some tiny, tiny little lines. Well done. Well done, Modifius team. I gotta say, this bad boy over the regular behemoth, as far as an attractive model, oh yeah. Regular one's got that kind of Fallout 4 weird space warp look to it. Hey, Corbin Bear, good to see ya. More work on Swan. Yes, indeed. We are just getting the base layers of the boat details down. And we're off to the races. It's come together much quicker than the skin. As to be expected. As to be expected. There we go. Now, this is one of the more enjoyable. I mean, it's the biggest Modiphius model I've ever tackled. But the yeah, I gotta say the detail is getting better and better. Cause yeah, like I said, compared to that original behemoth, it's got nothing on this bad boy. Swan's got to be in top 5 minis of all time. It's really cool. The I like that they went with, and I do enjoy how Modiphius sort of does this historically, or is doing this historically now, but using the concept art for stuff as inspiration from the models, you know, for things that didn't make it into the game, even like the Centaur concept art from Fallout 4 that never made it into the game at all, is a mini now that you can get. And I think that's really cool. And same like, you know, stuff like, yeah, some of the elements on Swan here that are drawn from the design art that didn't make it into the game, right? Because I mean, the boat in the game is just a big green triangle on his arm, and it does not look very good. But the concept art of it has all this detail, this cool hook, you know, all of these really interesting things. So yeah, I like that they're doing that now. It's you know, it's giving the artists, I think, more to play with. As far as making something interesting like this, rather than just the standard Fallout 4 behemoth in a diaper with a club, right? Yeah, so I think that's cool. Yeah, that Centaur in particular is a pretty cool sculpt. Yeah, Satch Banditoot, Sarch Banditoot. I'm saying it, however I'm saying it. I know I'm saying it wrong. I think it's a play on on the Bandicoot. I get it now. Okay. Banditoot it is. I get it. It's a joke on Crash Bandicoot. There it is. Okay, I got it. That shouldn't have taken me an hour. Yeah, that Centaur is pretty cool. And again, the Fallout 76 potential is going to be interesting, right? Snallygaster's going to be a cool monster if it shows up. All that cool stuff. And yeah, some of the concept art there too, I think will give, if and when we see that. I'm again leaning on when. Yeah, I think there will be some cool artistic interpretations there as well. I hope. Go. Yes, Banditoot is right. There we go. Rhymes with the hard K, like Sark. Thank you. Thank you for the help on the pronouncers. I'm sure there's several of our longtime users that I've always said their name wrong, and they've just been too kind to correct me, so I appreciate it. Being careful with sort of quasi-edge highlight here. Try to get these latticey bits without getting any of the good green underneath. I really enjoy, as I was saying, this color as a base for any sort of rope. And then, yeah, that hemp rope by the Army Painter over top just gives it a real nice pop. But we'll wait till we have all the rope on across his whole body done before we do that step, because there's a lot of it. And it's a pain in the ass step to do. I'd rather only do it once. I'd rather only do it once a lot of times than a lot of times. I'd rather do it a lot of times once than once a lot of times, if that makes sense. Or maybe it's the other way around. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm trying to say. Go. And they're quite pleasant details to paint as well, too. Like I say, I'm mostly just edge highlighting this whole thing, and it's coming together. No fuss, no muss. Where does that saying come from, muss? Is that a thing? These are the asking the important questions. Asking the important questions. Go. Well, that's damn near coming together. I might do when sort of all the base layers are down. So I might play around with an oil wash perhaps on the boat and or the anchor. Something I've never really messed around with, depending on what you consider an oil wash. I think it could be an interesting way to get a lot of grime. 'Cause, I mean, Swan spends a lot of time in the water, right? So that could be fun. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. First, need to finish the upper details of these ropes. So next time we can come back in and do the highlights. Oil washes are great. Definitely gotta trust the process. Yes, I've discovered that in playing around with some enamel washes. That yeah, it's just kind of like there's a certain point where you just gotta go with God, right? Throw it in, Like you say, trust the process. Which, yeah, there's something to be said about that. About hitting the ugly stage and keeping going. Because it's pretty easy to give up sometimes. There we go. Well then. A couple more strokes here. We are in pretty darn good shape. Oh, a little miss there, but that's okay. It's a weird angle to try to get at. Come on. Of course, this spot here is being so difficult. There we go. Not too shabby, gang. Look at that boat. Just like that. We've got a lot more life into this model in, well, a little over an hour. Look at that. Still some highlights to go there. Like I said, I'm going to mess around with a little bit of edge highlighting on the boat itself. Get a lighter red on the red, a lighter green on the green, go figure. But actually probably won't mess around too much with the green, just because it already has a lot of those highlights that we already built in from the underbrushing. Need to do a little bit of blending where some of this pooled a bit with the contrast paint, but we are Bodie McStab Face. There you go. That is the new name of this model, Corwin's tabletop. Bodie McStab Face is damn near ready to go. Yeah, it's coming together. I'm coming together. How many? Chip Parker asks, how many times have repaints been needed after a wash went wrong? I'm not gonna say. Yeah. Yep, been there more than a time or two, my friend. But yeah, the AK enamel washes, says the Banditoot. Yes, those are precisely the ones I mentioned. I was meaning actually, like streaking grime or rust streaks. Here is one of my faves. Which I've also got, oh, you know what? This might be the right move here. Slime! Slimy grime. I think maybe Swan will get some slimy grime, perhaps, on the boat and or the anchor. There, we'll play around with some slimy grime. Look at that. On the wood, too, parts here, like a little bit of moss. There you go. We're going to have some fun with enamels, fun with washes is what we'll call the next stream. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it there for today, there, gang. Just because I have some other work to do on a video that needs to come out for Friday. The survivors, first half of some of the survivors for the Capital Wasteland wave, another faction review. So that'll be Lucas Sims, the Wasteland personalities box. And the Capital Companions box review will be coming out on Friday. But I need to go finish it first, which is what I'm off to do right now. So that's going to be coming out in a couple days. Excited to get that one finally done. Riley's Rangers will be coming after that. And then we're going to be right into Nuka World. So it's going to be a buzzer beater faction finales for this next wave as we move on to the next. But thank you all again for tuning in. I hope your painting on, or whatever it is you're crafting on today, went as well and was as enjoyable as I had here today with you all, because Swan is looking awesome. Look at that boat, the skin now. I'm really glad we took the time we did, because I think this is going to be a really fun piece that I'm excited to get on the tabletop and to keep on the shelf too. I think it's going to really pop. So thank you all for tuning in on another Workshop Wednesday Hobby Hangout. eScore P, good to see ya. Corwin's Tabletop, thank you so much, and for giving us the name of Stabby McBoatface. Sark Banditoot, man, I'm going to say that wrong every time. Corbin Bear, Chip Parker, Lucas Malocco, Heath, JRE7632, all the gang for tuning in. Thank you all so much. As mentioned in the chat there, yes, we've got a new episode of Live 2D20. Fallout 2D20 coming out on Sunday. It is the finale of our little 3-part mini arc of Home on the Rage. After that, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be headed back to Kansas. Justin's going to be taking over, overseeing again, and we're going to put a bow on Season 2. Probably within the next couple of months. I say before the end of the year. Definitely before the end of the year, Season 2 will be in the bag. So if you haven't checked out the mini-series, go back, check out the last 2 episodes, and we've got the big finale coming in on Sunday. It's going to be the Siege of Longmount. Mutants are going to be attacking. It's going to be a great time. So hope you all can tune in for that. It's going to be 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. And again, like I mentioned, if all goes well, Friday, we're going to have a new faction review for the Capital Wasteland Survivors. So thank you all again so much. It's going to be a great time. Really excited for Sunday's show. I really hope you guys tune in. I've got a lot of weird shit that I'm going to throw at the guys, a lot of homebrew creatures and stuff. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit different than anything we've ever done. I think you're going to have a good time. So, thank you all again. We'll see you then. Stay tuned for that video on Friday, and bye-bye.